All right. This week and last week have not really scheduled a ton of podcast guests or any actually. It's just been me working on or trying to work on building a lending company from scratch and then recording content about that. Um, but it's kind of nice to step away from having guests. It's actually pretty tiring, and to get through, I think 60 or 70 episodes in a 9 month time frame has been fun, a learning experience, but also quite challenging and emotionally draining or energy draining. In this episode, I think one of the things I struggle with myself is just talking to uh, an audience that I don't really understand who's watching, if anybody. Um, and that's okay. I mean, I'm just kind of doing this because it's uncomfortable work. You're supposed to be doing things that aren't comfortable, right? To grow, whether it turns into anything or not, at least it's just an experience. But this time I plan on talking about just understanding, or I guess lessons learned. Top five, or not even top five, but five lessons I've learned throughout my 4 years of real estate. Um, and the first one is understanding yourself. I've always heard growing up, I've always heard these people going in these self discovery journeys and never really understood that. I think I even had Rosie Noel on, who's a Clifton Strength uh, coach, and kind of insulted her by saying that I had always thought it was kind of dumb, but it's actually really important because understanding yourself would have saved, or if I had understood myself better, spent more time figuring out what is it I like, what is I don't like, what I the goals I want to accomplish, the life I want to live, and what my strengths are, I probably would not have made as many mistakes as possible, but not saying that I regret any of the things I've done. Um, but just looking back, anytime you do anything the second time around, it's a lot more smooth. You make less mistakes. And so for me, understanding my strengths and what I wanted to do and aligning what it is that I was doing to meet those goals, I think is something that is really important for anybody in any type of uh, journey to accomplish their goals, right? So for me, when I first started, it was cash flow was the objective, but I found myself buying properties that didn't necessarily cash flow and had more appreciation or had a mixture. So it was not $500 a door, it was maybe two or $300 a door. But I did it not really understanding the opportunity cost of spending my time, energy, money, and effort into something that doesn't really align with that wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be. So, I mean, spending a lot of time on the phones, making hundreds of cold calls, spending hours trying to nurture leads that I was never going to be able to close anyways. Um, Probably spent more time than I should have in all those activities. But had I really understood myself and come up with a clear objective and focused on that goal, then probably would have gotten to where I probably would be at a different spot than I am now. Uh, Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So one of the issues with my personality, and it's not like a bad thing, but understanding how to really control it is I like to move quickly. So when I first got into real estate, it was do first, ask questions later. And closing on three houses for long distance in a market that I didn't really know all that well, with an agent that I didn't know that I could trust, and I didn't understand the quality of the person I was working with, but I just did it anyways. Um, And I mean, luckily it worked out, but it could have been really bad. Uh, so my goal, I mean, I wanted to reach a goal and exactly like the podcast where I didn't have a goal. I didn't understand what it was that I was trying to accomplish with it or why I wanted to do it. I just wanted to do it. And so I went full force into it, getting to a bunch of episodes. And now I'm in a spot where I don't know what to do with this. Like it's not, I'm not monetizing it. I don't know how to monetize it. It's not growing an audience or the type of audience that I was hoping to grow because I didn't know what kind of audience I was looking for. Um, Also getting to 30 doors and not really understanding why. I mean, having an idea, but not really digging into does this really help my goals? And now I'm in the process of selling 30 and dealing with the headaches of that. It is slowing down my progress and kind of clouding my mind when it comes to focusing on the next step of building a lending company. Um, and so my thought was always, go fast and you'll figure it out later. But that's also how people get into trouble. I see a lot of people that are out of the gate making all this money and then they're trying to scale before they have their systems in place or they're organized. And luckily I didn't get to that part because I was too afraid to make those big leaps. And so yeah, I really understand that if you go smooth, I mean if you go slow and you really take care of what is it you're building and doing it the right way, then it leads to exponential growth instead of this kind of plateau that we hit when we're trying to do too many things at once, take on too much without the proper systems and organization in place, and then having to go back and clean stuff up. I mean, 2023, I just cleaned up. Now I'm working on 2024, and we're already through the first quarter of 25. So, I mean, it's a slow process. We are getting caught up, but yeah, it's okay to go slow because there's that saying, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. The best in the world do at least I think this came from Navy SEAL. The best warriors in the world. That's one of the things that they say. I don't know if it's their motto, but it's something that I heard from a Navy SEAL. And so, yeah, going back, I would probably slow things down, not worry so much about being able to move quickly, uh, focusing less on my own ego and trying to boost it up by saying, look how many doors I'm buying, look how fast I'm moving, and really just take the time to do it the right way, is lesson number two. Lesson number three is systematize and organize. So I kind of mentioned this in the slow is smooth and smooth is fast. But yeah, having good systems in place, building a self-sustaining business or a business that can run on its own is even if it's making 100,000 net profit a year is worth more than the 100,000 that you're earning because if you're able to just step back and have it be completely on autopilot and not have to do any work, that allows you to go out and build the next business. And building the systems and creating clean books or having clean books and having a clear system of just systems and being organized. So if a bank says, I need to see your last five projects, right? Or Harmony needs to see the last five projects, being able to go and not just you, have someone else go in and easily find the information that the bank is looking for, to me is priceless because if you could do that one time, you can do that 1,000 times. And even if you have 1,000 companies only netting $100,000 for you in your own pocket, I mean, it's just something that you can make a lot of money that way. So don't be afraid to go slower than what you see, than what you perceive other. How do I say this? Don't be afraid to go slow. even though you perceive others to be moving at a much quicker pace, you see a lot of people just collapse. Their business collapse because they can't sustain what is it they're doing. So number three is creating clear systems and have good organization. The fourth lesson I've learned is that everything is hard, no matter what you do, whether you stay in your W-2 and you work for someone else, it's hard, right? There are things that you have to miss out on, time that you have to spend away from your family, deadlines you have to meet because you want to make sure that you are getting, a good raise or that next promotion. That's hard. Creating a business from scratch, not knowing what you're doing on your own, it's hard. They're all hard. Whether you want to build a wholesaling business, a lending business, an acquisitions business, whatever it is, it's all hard. So don't be afraid to just stick it out, even if it's not working. And for me, like I'm 4 years in and I still feel like it's not working because I don't have a self-sustaining business yet. And it's hard. I've been doing this for at least the lending piece for a little bit over a year, but now just finally understanding that I need to mature as a business owner instead of saying, okay, this isn't going to work. It's not for me. The plan is to stick it out because I've done a lot of different things and it's all hard. So just because something is hard doesn't mean it's not for you. If it aligns with your goals and aligns with your strengths and weaknesses, and you can find someone to complement your weaknesses or whatever it is. If this is what it is you want to do and it's difficult, you just have to find a way. Can't give up. You see other people making money in wholesaling and or fix and flipping, and yes, you can make money if you can make money as a wholesaler, you can make money as a flipper, you can make money. There are an infinite number of ways to make money, but they're all hard. One is not easier than the other. It's just whether you have the desire to tough it out and figure it out. Uh, so lesson number four, like everything is hard. Number five, I don't know if I fully accepted this, but appreciating the journey. I mean, the number of times where I wish that I could just snap my fingers and have everything the way that I want it to be. Uh, I mean, it's just I more times than I can count. But then there's a book called Chop Wood, Carry Water, where it's about this individual who is training to become a samurai, and it's like a 10-year process. And after X number of years, he goes to competition and goes in expecting to win, but ends up, I think, getting in last place or not getting anywhere close to winning. And he's all disappointed. And the guy's master or sensei, teacher, coach, whatever it is, uh, expresses to him the difference between where he's at now versus where the student was 5 years ago, 3 years ago, wherever the time frame is. And instead of focusing on the destination, focus more on appreciating the journey because not everyone gets to do what is that you're doing and not everyone gets to chase their dreams. And if you're constantly focused on the destination, well, that destination constantly moves. If your goal is to make $100,000 a year net, then that goal, you're not going to be satisfied at $100,000. Then that needle moves to 500, then it goes to a million, then 10 million, and it's never going to change. So if you're constantly chasing a moving target, you're never going to be happy. So just appreciate that you get to go on this journey, no matter how challenging it is. You just be grateful that you get to do it. So those are five lessons that I've learned. Still working on still working on all of them, but I think no matter what it is that happens or you go through, mm, you're always going to be changing and evolving to grow into the person that deserves to reach the goals. And that's not from personal experience, it's just what other people have who are way more successful than I am have been saying. And so I'm just kind of having faith and believing that this is all going to be worth it at some point in the future, hopefully sooner rather than later. Um, but yeah, these are just lessons that I've learned. And if this has helped you at all, subscribe, like, all that stuff. But I appreciate you watching and see you next week.